Hello everyone, I welcome you all back to my YouTube channel. If today is your first time of coming across my videos, please support me by subscribing to my YouTube channel and turning on the notification bell so you can always be the first to get notified anytime I drop a new video. Thank you. Let's go into the story. In the heart of Lagos, where the city never slept and opportunities seemed endless, Chief Obinna Agu was a name that everyone respected, envied, or feared. From the slums to the penthouses, his story inspired hope. He was the boy from Ameke village who had climbed his way out of poverty, using sheer grit and determination to become a billionaire. People praised him for his sharp mind in business and his eye for investments that always seemed to multiply his wealth tenfold. His life was the dream that everyone wanted to live. He owned estates across the country, flew first-class airline wherever he went, and rubbed shoulders with presidents and kings. Yet, despite his success, Chief Obinna always remembered his humble beginnings. Unlike other billionaires who cut off their old friends, Obinna still stayed in touch with his childhood friends, Tunde, Chike, and Sule, men who, like him, had grown from nothing into their own kind of success. But the older Obinna grew, the more he noticed something unsettling. His friends, who had once been his brothers through thick and thin, seemed to change. The connection they once shared as young boys struggling to escape poverty felt shallow by now. Conversations became business-like, filled with bragging about their wealth. The playful teasing and gesture were all gone. Obinna was generous with them. He threw lavish parties, invited them to vacations in Dubai, and even offered interest-free loans when they claimed they needed more capital for their businesses. Yet, none of them ever reciprocated. Not once did they invite him to their homes or events unless there was an ulterior motive, like securing a business deal or boosting their social image. One particular day at a gathering in his mansion, Obinna observed his friends from a distance. They were laughing over glasses of champagne, their wives flaunting designer dresses and expensive jewelry. He overheard Tunde with a smirk. Obinna thinks he's the glue holding us together. But let's be sincere, if he went broke tomorrow, none of us would carry his burden. Who wants to take on another man's problem? Sule chuckled, shaking his drink. This life is survival of the fittest. We are all rich now because we fought our battles alone. If he fails, that's his own cross to carry. Chike nodded and said, "In Lagos, generosity is suicide. Everyone is a leash when you have money. Let Obinna taste what it's like to beg. He won't find pity, even from me." Their laughter rang in Obinna's ears, sharp and cold like a knife slicing through him. clenched his fists but kept his composure. His heart ached, not because of their words, but because of the betrayal behind them. These were the same friends who once cried together with him in hunger, the same men he had shared his last garri with during their youthful days. Obinna didn't confront them. Instead, he excused himself from the gathering and retreated to his private study. Sitting alone in the dimly lit room, he reflected on the years they had shared, the loyalty they had once vowed to one another. Had wealth truly corrupted them, or had they always been this way, waiting for the right moment to show their true colors? That night, Obinna's mind raced with several questions. Were they truly his friends? Or had they always stayed close to him because of his money? Did they value him? Or was it just a source of benefits to them? He decided that he needed to know the truth. But how? Confronting them directly would be useless. They would deny it or accuse him of being paranoid. The idea struck him like lightning. Obinna would stage his own downfall. He would disappear from the life of luxury and become broke, just like the little boy they had once known in Ameke village. This way, he would see who among them would stand up for him and stand by him when he had nothing. The next few weeks were critical. Obinna carefully planned his deception. He instructed his lawyer and financial advisors to create the illusion of bankruptcy. He sold one of his smaller companies publicly, allowing rumors to spread in the business world about his financial troubles. He told his driver, cook, and house staff to take a long paid leave and vacated his mansion, moving into an old, modest apartment on the outskirts of the city of Lagos. To complete the illusion, Obinna began to dress in simple clothes, dishing his designer suits and gold watches. He deliberately let his hair grow untidy and even began to take public buses instead of his flashy cars. His once busy phone, which was always ringing with calls and invitations, became silent as word of his supposed downfall spread. The first test came when he reached out to Tunde. He called him, his voice shaky as he pretended to be distressed. Tunde, it's me, Obinna. I need your help. Please, my brother. He began. Tunde's tone was cautious. Obinna, long time. How have you been? Hope all is well with you. Obinna hesitated, drawing in a deep breath. No, my brother, things are not well. I've lost a lot of money. I made some bad investments, and now the banks are on my neck. I just need a small loan to get back on my feet. There was a long pause on the other end of the line before Tunde laughed nervously. Ha! Obinna, You know times are tough for everybody now. I am even struggling to keep my business alive. Have you tried asking Shike or Sule? They are in better positions to help you. I already tried them, Obinna lied. Tunde, please, I just need 5 million naira. I will pay you back once I get back to my feet. 5 million? Tunde shouted. Obinna, that's a lot of money. I don't think I can spare that right now. Let me get back to you. The call ended abruptly. Obinna leaned back in his chair, a bitter smile on his face. He hadn't even asked for a large sum. Yet, the man he had once given interest-free loans was quick to dismiss him. Next, Obinna reached out to Shike and Sule. The responses were no different. Empty excuses, polite refusals, and false promises to get back to him. Days turned into weeks, and not one of them even bothered to check up on him. The once loud life of Chief Obinna Hagu was now filled with quietness, but instead of despair, he felt a strange sense of peace. For the first time in years, he wasn't surrounded by fake laughter and false praise. As the weeks went by, Obinna's supposed fall from grace became a popular topic among Lagos residents. Some pitied him, while some mocked him, but no one offered a helping hand. His 3 closest friends, the ones he had trusted most, avoided him entirely. One rainy evening, as Obinna sat in a small apartment, eating bread and akara from a roadside vendor, he realized something profound. Wealth had not changed him, but it had revealed the true nature of those around him. One morning, weeks after Obinna's supposed fall from grace, the billionaire sat by the window of his modest apartment, watching the streets come alive with hawkers and bus conductors shouting at passengers. The bustling chaos of Lagos had a strange beauty, one he didn't even notice in years. For once, there were no drivers, no conductors calling for updates, no pressure to attend meetings. It was just him, the world, and a deafening silence from those he had called his friends. Tunde, Shike, and Sule had completely ghosted him. Days had turned into weeks, and none of them bothered to return his calls. His heart grew heavier with each passing day, but Obinna was determined to push further. He wanted to dig deep into their characters, to see if there was even a shred of loyalty left. One evening, as the city dimmed and lights flickered around the crowded buildings, Obinna decided to take his test to the next level. He reached out to Shike with an urgent plea. "Shike, I'm in trouble," he said over the phone, his voice trembling as though he were on a verge of tears. I've been evicted from my apartment and I have nowhere to go. Please, just let me stay in one of your hotels for a few weeks. I won't even take a room meant for customers. A staff room will be okay for me. I swear, I will pay you back once things turn around. Chike's response was swift but icy. Obinna, you should have told me earlier, but things are tight right now. My hotels are fully booked, and you know how demanding this business can be. I wish I could help you, but I am sorry, I can't. Have you tried reaching out to Sule or Tunde? Maybe they can assist. Chike, Obinna interrupted, his voice breaking. You have over 5 hotels in Lagos alone. Surely, only one room will be okay for me. Obinna, don't guilt trip me. Chike snapped. You think because we are friends, I owe you? Everyone has their own struggles. I can't sacrifice my business reputation to shelter you. Good night. The line went dead and Obinna stared at his phone, shocked by the harshness of Chike's words. This was a man he had once loaned millions to when his hotel business was falling. Obinna didn't even ask for repayment. Yet now, in his moment of need, Chike had slammed the door in his face. The next day, Obinna decided to pay Sule a visit in person. Sule was a politician with connections to the highest levels of power. Obinna figured that if anyone could help, it would be him. Dressed in a faded shirt and worn-out trousers, Obinna made his way to Sule's luxurious home in Ikoyi. When he arrived at the gate, the security guard eyed him suspiciously. Who are you looking for? I am here to see Sule. Tell him Chief Obinna is here, he replied. The guard frowned, scanning him from head to toe. Chief Obinna, dressed like this? Yes, Obinna said firmly. Just tell him I am here. The security guard reluctantly went inside, only to return moments later with a dismissive wave. Oga Sule said he's busy. He can't see you. Obinna's chest tightened. Did you tell him it's me? I told him. He said he's in a meeting. The security guard replied him. Obinna nodded, swallowing his pride. Can you give him a message? Tell him I've been evicted and have nowhere to go. Ask if he can loan me some money for a small apartment. The guard disappeared again, but when he returned, his expression was indifferent. Oga Sule said he's sorry, but he can't help you right now. He asked you to check on Tunde or Chike. Obinna stood frozen at the gate, the weight of rejection passing down on him. He turned and walked away, his heart heavy with disappointment. The 3 men he had once called brothers had abandoned him without hesitation. Weeks turned into months, and Obinna's world grew quieter. He no longer reached out to his friends, choosing instead to observe their lives from a distance. Tunde continued to expand his import business, flaunting his wealth on social media. Chike hosted extravagant parties in his hotels, boasting about his success. Sule's face was plastered on campaign posters as he prepared to run for a higher political office. None of them even spared a thought for Obinna, who had disappeared from their lives as though he never existed. But while Obinna's old friends enjoyed their luxuries, he found solace in the simplicity of his new life. He made friends with the roadside vendors who owed him food and the taxi drivers who shared their stories during rides. For the first time in years, he saw the struggles of everyday citizens up close. He saw mothers juggling multiple jobs to feed their children, young men hustling in the streets to survive, and elders praying for just one more chance at life. One evening, as Obinna sat outside his apartment watching the sunset, an elderly woman approached him. She was a neighbor, Mama Ngozi, who sold akara by the roadside. She had noticed his quiet personality and often greeted him with warm smiles. "Young man," she said, sitting beside him, "you've been here for months, yet you keep to yourself. What brings you to a place like this? You don't seem like someone meant for this kind of life. What happened?" Obinna smiled faintly. "Life happened, Mama. I had everything, but I lost it all." Mama Ngozi studied him for a moment before placing a hand on his shoulder. "The people who truly love you will reveal themselves in your hardest moment. If they've abandoned you, then they were never meant to be in your life." Her words struck a chord in Obinna's heart. For months, he had focused on the betrayal of his friends, but Mama Ngozi's kindness reminded him that true loyalty often comes from the most unexpected people. The turning point came when Obinna decided to take his experiment one step further. He planned to organize a fake fundraiser, inviting all his old friends and associates. The goal was to see who, if anyone, would step up to support him. The event was set to take place in a rented hall, with Obinna playing the role of a desperate man seeking help. The invitations were sent out and the stage was set. Obinna knew that this event would reveal the final truth about the people he had once trusted. The day of the fundraiser arrived, and the air was thick with tension and anticipation. Obinna had gone to great lengths to ensure the event appeared genuine. He rented a modest community hall and dressed the place to look humble but inviting. The chairs were arranged neatly, and the small podium stood at the front of the room. A printed banner hung above the stage with bold letters that read, "A helping hand for Obinna, from grace to grass. Obinna sat backstage wearing an old ill-fitting suit that hung awkwardly on his now lean frame. The months of poverty had changed him physically. His once pristine appearance had given way to a rugged and tattered look. But he knew this was necessary. His transformation needed to be convincing. As guests began to trickle in, Obinna peeped through a small crack in the curtain. His eyes scanning the room, he saw familiar faces, business associates, former partners, and most importantly, Tunde, Sule, and Chike. Each of them had arrived in their usual flamboyant fashion. Obinna's lips twitched in a bitter smile. They had come not out of concern or loyalty, but likely out of curiosity or to mock him. When the event started, the master of ceremonies, a young man hired for the occasion, took the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to support Chief Obinna Agu, a man who has given so much to this community and its people. Today, he needs our help. Let us show him the kindness that he has shown to others. A murmur spread through the hall as Obinna stepped onto the stage. The once great billionaire now looked like a man beaten down by life. He cleared his throat, gripping the microphone tightly as he scanned the room. My friends, he began, his voice steady but laced with emotion. I stand before you today not as the man I was once, but as a man humbled by life. I lost everything, my businesses, my home, my cars, my wealth. I have been living in a small apartment, struggling to survive. I am here today because I have no other choice. I need you people to help me. The room was silent. Obinna's eyes lingered on Tunde, who avoided his gaze, then shifted to Chike, who sat stiffly, his face unreadable. Sule leaned back in his chair, his expression a mixture of boredom and disdain. I am not asking for much, Obinna continued. Even the smallest contribution will go a long way in helping me get back on my feet. For years, I have supported many of you, loaned money, invested in your dreams, and stood by you in times of need. I hope today that you can do same for me. He stepped back from the microphone, his heart pounding as he waited. The room remained silent for a moment, and then the murmurs began again. Tunde was the first to speak. He stood up, adjusted his agbada, and spoke loudly enough for everyone to hear. Obinna, I won't lie to you. Times are hard for everybody. I am already stretched thin with my commitments, but I will see what I can do. Maybe next month. I can't promise. Chike shook his head. Obinna, I understand your pain, but you can't expect us to carry your burdens. You made decisions that led to your downfall. We all have our own responsibilities. Sule smirked, leaning forward. Obinna, you know I've always been honest with you. I believe in teaching a man how to fish rather than giving him fish. You are resourceful. You will figure it out. Asking for handouts won't solve your problems. Obinna listened in shame. The people he had trusted offered excuses. A few friends dropped small amounts of money into the donation box. A pitiful collection compared to the wealth in the room. As the room emptied, Obinna stood alone on the stage, staring at the near-empty donation box. The betrayal stung deeper than he had expected. The people he had lifted in their darkest moments had abandoned him without hesitation. When the last guest had left, Obinna sat down on the edge of the stage, staring at the dusty floor. His chest ached, not from the loss of the money, but from the loss of trust. He had hoped that someone would rise above their selfishness and prove him wrong. But as the saying goes, it is in the fire that gold is tested. Obinna's heart hardened as he realized that his so-called friends were nothing more than opportunists. He knew now that the second phase of his plan had to be even more calculated. The world will soon see the true power of Obinna, not the billionaire, but the man who had risen from the ashes, and this time he would rise alone. We finally come to the end of the part 1 of this story, guys. Please subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell so you can get notified immediately I drop the part 2 of this story. Thank you. See you in my next episode.